Hi, my name is Dr. John Douillard, and welcome to LifeSpa.com, where we prove the ancient medical wisdom of Ayurveda with modern science. And today, I'm going to tell you something maybe a little controversial. It's learning how, training your body to be able to sleep while breathing exclusively through your nose and not your mouth. When I was in India, doing research on my book, Body, Mind, Sport, where we did research on mouth breathing versus nose breathing exercise, I ran across lots of studies and lots of stories where moms and dads would teach their young children to lie on their side and tuck their chin so they became nose breathers and not mouth breathers while they would sleep. I saw studies that showed that infantries that were trained to be nose breathers and infantries that were trained to be mouth breathers, and how the nose breathing infantries never got sick and the mouth breathers were always sick. There were all these studies suggesting that nose breathing was somehow very important, to the point where they would actually train their kids to actually pull this off. Now, when you look today and fast forward, we have sleep apnea issues and snoring issues and these things. And if you look at all the devices for sleep apnea and snoring, they basically force you to breathe through your nose and less through your mouth. So what is it that's so important about breathing through your nose while you sleep? And how do you train yourself to do it? Do you actually tape your mouth closed? Well, yes, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today, is how you can safely and successfully use mouth taping to close your mouth and get extraordinary benefits when you sleep. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some of those benefits now, and then we're going to talk about how you can actually learn how to do it. And I have an article that goes through all these benefits with all the science. You can go to the article and read about mouth taping and the benefits and how to do it in a safe and successful way as well. Okay, I don't believe you need to tape your mouth for the rest of your life. I think we can train our body, like little kids were trained in India, to become nose breathers while you sleep. Okay, so when I wrote my book, Body, Mind, and Sport, and I did research, we published our research on nose breathing exercise in the International Journal of Neuroscience, and we found all kinds of like crazy, unprecedented stuff. We found that when people breathe through the nose and they exercise, their brain slips into an alpha state, a meditative calm during vigorous exercise. Think about it. My best race is my easiest race. We are able to replicate that neurological calm, sort of runner's high thing, during vigorous exercise, a meditative calm during vigorous exercise. We also noticed that while their brains were in alpha, it was coherent. The whole brain was functioning sort of in rhythm with each other. When they were mouth breathing, it was like frenetic and beta and stressed out. We asked these kids how they felt during the vigorous workout. When they had their mouth open, they were at a 10 out of 10, maxing out their perceived exertion. The same kids came back the next day, did the same workout with their mouth closed. They did the same maximum level of workout. It was 200 watts of resistance on an exercise bike for 15 minutes. And their perception of the exertion was a 4 out of 10. Their breath rates during the mouth breathing was 48 breaths per minute. During the nose breathing, 14 breaths per minute, right? Some people think that we're limited by the amount of breaths we have, where it's like a set number for our life. Let's not waste them, right? Let's see if we can, be more efficient, because when you breathe deeply in the lower lobes of your lungs, that's where all the alveoli, where all the exchange potential is for getting rid of waste and oxygen in. And the limiting factor to our ability to breathe deep is our ability to get waste out. So when you're breathing in and out through your mouth while you're sleeping, you're not exchanging the air to where all the blood is. 60% of the blood is gravity fed, hanging out in the lower lobes of your lungs. And the nose has these turbinates engineered to drive the air all the way down into those lower lobes to activate those calm receptors. Yes, the receptors in the lower lobes are parasympathetic, stress, relax, digest, rejuvenate, rebuild receptors, where the mouth breathes into the upper chest and triggers the fight or flight, get up a tree, save your life, run away from a bear receptors. So we don't want to be stimulating stress while we're sleeping, trying to rest, right? So we really want that deep respiration. Plus, new studies show that we move so many toxins and waste and fat out of our body through nasal breathing. I wrote an article about how much fat is actually gotten rid of just by breathing through your nose versus your mouth. It's pretty impressive. So there's those benefits. And then there's just a flat out difference between being in fight or flight or being in parasympathetic dominance. When you're in fight or flight, you're enduring life. It's a stress break your body down to build yourself up, endure every experience, and recover from that endurance event. When you're in parasympathetic, it's a rebuilding experience. Most people, when they exercise, their fight or flight goes to 100% and their parasympathetic goes to 0. In our study with nose breathing exercise, they equaled out. The two opposite nervous systems coexisted, which means not only did the brain go into the super calm meditative state during vigorous exercise, but more importantly, what happened was that the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, which are opposite, equaled out. The two opposite nervous systems were coexisting. And my first book, Body, Mind, Sport, was all about trying to replicate the runner's high, the zone, that euphoric experience athletes randomly, tap into. And we did that. And nowadays, the science is pretty clear. What happens when athletes reach that state? Their brains go into coherence, their brain slips into an alpha state, and their sympathetic and parasympathetic equals out. We found that, published that back in the early 1990s. It was unprecedented back then. So yeah, we're training our body to breathe through our nose while exercising so you can learn how to handle stress in a calm way in your life, taking the calm benefit of exercise with you into your daily life. But what happens when we then put our head on the pillow and go to sleep? We open up our mouth, we snore, and we breathe 26,000, 29,000 times per day. A lot of times a day, we're triggering this upper chest emergency breath. And when you breathe through your mouth, it changes the acidity. The saliva in your mouth while you sleep change. The bacteria in your mouth change, gives you bad breath. Volatile sulfur compounds build up. Bacteria like Streptococcus mutans, which are opportunistic to get into your blood and lay plaque in your brain and your arteries, they build up when you change the chemistry and the environment of your mouth. So when you close your mouth when you sleep at night, you keep the same chemistry that you have during the day. You don't wake up with bad breath. You don't change and alter the environment of your mouth, and which is really important. Plus, while you're sleeping, you're creating this neurological calm. Your brain's going into deeper sleep, more rejuvenating sleep, right? You get the sympathetic system dials down, parasympathetic repair, rejuvenate dials up. All these really crazy benefits, but there's one more that I didn't write in my book, Body, Mind, Sport, because this research hadn't been done yet. I wrote my book before this study came out, and it was Nobel Prize winning science. And they found that nitric oxide, which is considered to be one of the Nobel Prize, I think it was 1998 in chemistry, as a panacea molecule that cures everything in the body. It was like the Nobel Prize winning molecule. And it's produced mostly in our sinuses during nose breathing. And there are studies that show that it's not produced at all during mouth breathing. And the reason why they stuck it in your nose is that when you produce this incredibly powerful rebuilding, rejuvenating molecule called nitric oxide, or NO, in your sinuses, when you breathe through your nose while you sleep, it brings that repair nitric oxide down into the lower lobes of your lungs, where it can exchange with the alveoli into your blood. And here are some of the things that the science says that nitric oxide can do. Not to mention that they considered the panacea molecule, so this list is really, really short. Okay, so it increases the oxygenation and the activation of your mitochondria for energy and vitality and repair. It supports the arterial lining. One of the well-known things about nitric oxide, the endothelium, the health of your heart arteries, is critically benefited by the amount of nitric oxide that you produce. Superoxide dismutase, glutathione, other antioxidants and powerful repair rejuvenative chemicals from your liver are activated at night from the triggering of nitric oxide, which happens at night when you sleep, because you're bringing the nitric oxide you produce during nose breathing, which you can produce during the day too. If you just breathe through your nose while you're exercising, you can bring all that repair activation into your lower lobes as well. And from there, in the lower lobes of your lungs, that's where all the blood is. All that blood gets exchanged into your bloodstream, and now you're pumping nitric oxide into every cell of your body, and you're turning your fight or flight, run away from a bear system down, and you're turning your repair system on. And that's exactly what NO, nitric oxide, is all about. It's all about repair. Like, how cool is this? Are you getting excited? Because I think this is like some of the most amazing information I've given in a very long time. So it also, it supports the health of all of the tissues of your body, your skin, your respiratory skin, your intestinal skin, all of your barriers. I wrote an article on all the barriers of your body, your respiratory tract, your intestinal skin, this skin, your blood-brain barrier is protected by nitric oxide. So when you breathe through your nose, you're activating and delivering the nitric oxide made in your sinuses into your lower lobes where the blood exchange happens, drive it into your bloodstream, and now it becomes systemic. It boosts immunity, neuroplasticity in your brain. It helps regulate blood sugar and supports healthy regulation of insulin resistance, boosts immunity, and has been shown to lower basal metabolic index, which is your metabolic rate in terms of your balance of all your hormones and your metabolic system. So it's very, very important and supports the, even to a certain extent, your weight regulation, because blood sugar has to do with weight, and all that makes sense. So anyway, lots of reasons why we should consider taping our mouth closed. A couple of ways to do that. One of the ways you can do it is you can get this tape from 3M. You can get it at your pharmacy. It's 3M makes it. It's called micropore tape. And then you take some of this tape and you would just take it and you just take a piece and plug it up. It's porous, so if you had to breathe through your mouth, you actually could, and it works really well. I find that this works really well, but it's pretty sticky. And the problem with the sticky part is it feels like sometimes you're gonna, if you use the wrong tape like duct tape or athletic tape, which I've tried, you feel like you might just rip the skin right off your lips, which is a little bit scary. This one is actually way better. So the micropore tape, it's dirt cheap. You can get it at your pharmacy. It's called micropore. 3M makes it. That's something. Fold down the end there so you can actually at night pull it off if you want to get it off while you're sleeping. So you'd put this on with a little bit of a tag that if you wanted to get it off quickly, you could actually do that very, very easily. So super simple to do that. Also, of course, this technique, I didn't make this up. There's a product out that makes it. It's called Somnifix, and this particular product is a little piece of mouth tape that has a little hole in the middle. So if you had to breathe, you could actually get some air through your mouth, but it pretty much seals your mouth, and you would just kind of purse your lips, stick it on, and then voila. And you can get this at Amazon. I don't know if they're sold at pharmacies, but it's something. You get 28 mouth strips for about $17. I think this is a really good way to start, because if you're worried like you're going to suffocate or anything, it has a little hole in it. When you look at these things, it has little holes in it, so you could actually, it comes in a little thing like that. I don't know if you can see it, but you just peel it off and then stick it on. So it's really simple, sterile, super easy. And then once you get used to doing it, you start to realize that you don't need this like massive amount of tape. You can then migrate into maybe the micropore tape, or maybe even eventually even just a cheap Band-Aid to just kind of as a reminder to keep your mouth closed. Of course, the best way to sleep is on your side with your head tucked. And of course, they have found that when you lie on your side, your brain drains the brain lymphatics significantly better than if you were lying on your back, which would then force your mouth open. So when you lie on your side, tuck your chin, which they did with little kids in India, you're getting all this incredible nose breathing kind of coaxing to get you to breathe through your nose, activate this nitric oxide in your brain, drive it into the lower lobes, deliver it into your bloodstream, and get that amazing nighttime repair. That, along with the melatonin you get at night, it's a pretty powerful 1-2 punch. And all the other benefits of breathing into the lower lobes of your lungs that I write about in all of my nasal breathing exercise articles. You just type in nasal breathing exercise on my website and you get all the research. You can see our published study there as well. And you can even go to the actual study itself on PubMed and read about it there. But tons of research here. The benefits of not being a snorer, the detriment of sleep apnea, the risks of developing sleep apnea down the road. These are things that, if we just go back to the ancient wisdom and see what they were training their kids to do, and even their infantry to do, it's something that we can actually retrain ourselves to do now. So play with it. Definitely it's one of those things where if you have a condition like sleep apnea or snoring or anything, I would definitely check with your medical doctor and just make sure that you're okay to kind of start a project like this. But it is something that we do want to begin to start thinking about training yourself to be a better nose breather. Definitely while you exercise. You can train yourself there and then move yourself into the sleep, and you can play with some of the tape. This one here is pretty safe. It's a commercial product with a hole in it, so you can't suffocate. So you're pretty ready to go there. Okay, so check it out. Read the article. I go into detail on how to make this whole thing happen at LifeSpa.com. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard. Do you like this video? Don't forget to subscribe and share.
This recording is brought to you by LifeSpa, where ancient Ayurvedic wisdom meets modern science. Get access to free health video newsletters by Dr. John at LifeSpa.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.